Welcome to the Green Room. It's a place for friends and colleagues to hang out at the end of the day on Wednesday and celebrate cannabis. We smoke together and get to know interesting people in the cannabis movement. Today's special guest is Nurit Raphael. She is the founder of Ona Life. Welcome, Nurit. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you so much for having me, Susan. This is awesome.
Yay, of course.
My name is Nurit Raphael, and I'm the founder of Ona, which is a cannabis concierge based out of Marin County. I'm 35, and I live in San Francisco currently.
Awesome. So one of your first experiences with cannabis was when your mother didn't want you to use opioids because you had your wisdom teeth taken out. Can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. This is one of my favorite stories. So I was in high school and I'm going through the whole process of getting my wisdom teeth removed. And when I came home from the doctors with my prescriptions, my mom took the pills, flushed them down the toilet, and was like, "You're not touching those." And, I'm kind of looking at her with teary-eyed, wondering, how am I going to battle this pain? I've got cotton balls in my mouth and it's just miserable. Well, my mom took some cannabis nugs, some flour, put it on the stove with butter, and she fed it to me with a straw. So that was my first experience of having cannabis medically, and I completely zoned out on the couch, just zombied out for, at least 2 days, and she kept giving me the oil throughout the time.
Did everyone in your family know that she was doing that?
So my parents were divorced at the time, so my dad did not know, and my older brother, who's my co-founder at Ona, he did know, and he was all about it as well.
Okay, that's interesting. I'm thinking about having the state of cannabis next month. The theme be scary things in cannabis because it's October. And one of the panels will be, what about the children? And I've been talking to some people, and people are still using that in divorces. CPS is still very, very involved. Joan Irvine is in the audience, and she's, been working on this issue forever and a real champion on that. But, your mom could have gotten in a lot of trouble for that.
Yeah, she absolutely could have. I think, she is an immigrant from Israel, so they don't necessarily kind of follow all the American laws, I would say. But she was very progressive with that. And I think to her, plant-based medicine was always something she believed in. Even today, like her going through menopause, she'll eat yams, or she believes in lavender. So it's all across the board. Plant medicine has been, instilled in us.
Wow, what do yams have to do with menopause?
I think it brings down the hormones and helps with the heat flashes.
Interesting. I wish I would have known that.
I can definitely ask her and get more info.
Those hot flashes are not fun. Hey, anyone in the audience, well, I don't remember the brand, but I was a judge for High Times one time, and it was the first time they did topicals. And I didn't know that this product that we were judging was worth like $200. So I wanted to get the real experience, and I rubbed it all over my body, and it felt like extreme menopause. It was so nuts.
It gave you heat flashes?
Oh my God, hot and then cold. It was insane. And
it had that Vicks feeling to it, where
it was more than that. The hot wasn't as bad as the cold. The cold, I was chugging coffee. I had 5 sweaters on. I was standing on top of a heater vent, and I could not get warm. It was so bad. So one of the flaws of being a judge for High Times, they should tell you how much the product is worth,
Absolutely. And I think they should tell you how much to use.
Right. Yeah, you're just totally blind. So anyway, so I was wondering, did you go to college to learn how to start a business and run a business? How did you learn this stuff?
I did not. Thank you for asking. I would say I very much made my own path. during high school, when everyone was taking the SATs and planning what college they went to, I just wasn't ready. My mind wasn't there yet. I think I thought, okay, middle school, high school, I got through it. This is great. And my oldest brother at the time started a mortgage company called SRI, and he offered me a job, and I just thought, okay, this is a great transition. I'll start working. So our family is very much entrepreneurs, and I think I learned a lot from working with him. And then I traveled to Israel and Tel Aviv for 4.5 years. And when I came back is when I decided, okay, I think I need to settle down and maybe learn something in some sort of system. So I enrolled into FITM, which is the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising, and I studied merchandise marketing. So through that is, I think, where I got a lot of my understanding for marketing for a business. But the real start of ONA would be from the help of my brother, who also had a different company prior.
Well, so that's really interesting experience, but then translating that into cannabis is a whole nother thing.
Absolutely.
So how did you get from that to cannabis?
So when I finished working, when I moved home and I finished FITM, I had an opportunity to work in post-production visual effects. So I took that opportunity thinking that was what I wanted to do and that I wanted to become a producer. I was on my way, and I was on Deadpool and Game of Thrones. I was organizing all these very high-end movie glamorous shots and whatnot. And, I'm working overtime. I'm managing about 50 different artists at midnight. And I just think one day I opened my eyes and just knew that wasn't what I wanted to do. And at the time it was 2014, and Colorado had just legalized. So I went through looking at what that means. What does it mean to get into cannabis? Where do I start? And when I went to my oldest brother, who kind of acts more like a father, and a lot of times he just said, well, sister, what does it mean that you want to work in cannabis? Like, figure that out. And my biggest fear was the legality landscape and making sure that we weren't going to get into any sort of real legal trouble. So I was lucky enough to meet Amanda and Shabnan from Brandon Branch at a Women Grow event, and they offered me a job the night of. I picked up a box out of Shabnan's hands. I was like, can I help you with this? And she's like, okay. She's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm looking for a job. And she's like, you're hired.
Wow, that's amazing.
It was amazing. And so like I literally quit my job the next day and started working for them as an executive assistant, and learned all the ins and outs of cannabis through law.
What kind of law did they do?
So they do IP and like partnership law, but a lot of like trademarking. So through working with them, I got to see all of these new brands come to life. I got to see Kikoko hit the market. I got to see Bloom Farms hit the market. They were working with Kiva at the time. So it was like all these new, real, brands that were going to go into legalization were coming to life right then.
So you got to see the whole process of the marketing, the branding part.
Yeah, and I got to see Prop 215, in the midst of it, of opening a collective, getting your members part of your collective, and then right when all of that was starting to kind of become a little bit more open to society realizing what's happening and legalization coming forward, I got to navigate that whole process with them.
So they didn't do any of that was pre-64, so you didn't have to worry about compliance, but you did have to, navigating 215 was still, you had to be pretty creative.
You had to be very creative. I always called it it was gray market. It was kind of like iffy, but as long as you followed certain laws, you were okay. And God, do I miss 215. Right.
Don't we? That was one of the questions I was going to ask you about. Let's jump over there to Prop 64. First, I want to, for 1 second here, I want to show you my shirt. I had somebody gave me a Prop 64 t-shirt and it's so soft and comfy. I really wanted to wear it, but I didn't want to wear a Prop 64 shirt. So I put it upside down.
Oh my God, awesome. That one is Prop 264. It is upside down.
Right? Exactly. So, well, wait, I want to stay with them, Brandon Branch, a little bit more. Did they have any clients that couldn't navigate it, or did they have any that were not so gray and more black? Did you see both sides of that, people doing it right and people not?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I didn't see anybody fail through them. They were such an incredible company that they helped people really navigate making sure you're trademarked and we're like coming above law. But you know, what I learned from them too was like they started the National Cannabis like Bar Association, and through them I also was like, oh, okay, so all these lawyers get together and all these lawyers make these bills and form a unity, and through that I started my own association. So I'd say I really learned just kind of how to build the blocks that they did, but more on the delivery side.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about next is how you organize different delivery. When you first read Prop 64, how many pages was it? Do you remember? Like 80 something?
There was like at least 100, but I remember being in Las Vegas at MJ BizCon when they first came out, and I was sitting with Max Michalonis, and I was like, what does it say? I'm like, read it to me. And so, you know, I think we all sat in a circle and like flipped through a lot of pages of it, but I won't lie, I didn't read the whole thing. That's like reading it's too much to read.
Well, he's the best person because he just sits there and his mind just photographs it, and
and he interprets it right? Like there's so many lines in there that you read and you're like, what does this even mean? It's like reading script. There's like all these behind meanings through it. So I think that was a huge learning lesson.
That's the thing. He's got more than a photographic memory. He can cross-reference all the bills. It's crazy. I think I remember reading in the first draft that we couldn't share cannabis with each other, and it was like, no.
Yeah, I do remember that.
That's what we do. We share.
Yeah. That's what we're built of.
That's a line in the sand, assholes. So talk about what you saw in the first draft that you didn't like and what you did about it.
So the biggest thing, since at the time I was operating ONA under Prop 215, was the first draft did not include delivery. The first draft included delivery only if you had a storefront. So I got very involved with an amazing group of people. Nina Parks was definitely the ringleader. Andrea Unsworth, Andrea Brooks from Sava. You know, Max helped us again, Ryan Bush from Meadow. There was a whole coalition of delivery people that got together and, you know, made sure that we passed it. And so what I personally did is I went on Weed Maps and I put in Marin and I cold called every Marin delivery and said, hey, do you guys want to get in a room together and figure out how we can get delivery passed? Because currently we're not going to have a model. None of us will survive. And bigger than that, Marin County wouldn't allow storefronts. So there was literally no access for us to move forward. So yeah, we all got together. That's when I created the Marin County Couriers Association with a guy from Marin Gardens and other people in Marin. And through that, we combined forces with the San Francisco Association, Los Angeles, San Diego. Zach from Goddess Delivery in Los Angeles was a big part of it as well. And we all just, you know, moved forward and locally by ourselves and then unified at the state level together. And we passed it, and it was absolutely amazing. I will say I just had this conversation with some people that helped me do the delivery saying, let's do it for taxes. Let's get together. Let's raise that flag and do what we did for delivery for taxes.
Oh, great. Let me know who those people are because that's one of the scary panels that I'm having next month. Taxes.
Good. Good. Yeah, I remember you were talking about that, and I will also, when we get off, I'll definitely send an email with everybody I've been talking to about it, because we have to unify again and do this together. All the associations, no
Yeah.
matter what. Just this should be the one thing we all focus on.
Yeah, absolutely. Last night on the Long Beach City Council had a meeting to try and raise taxes for retail in Long Beach.
What are they at right now? Didn't you say like 8%
It's
last
at
time?
8, and they want to go up another point, which is, we pushed it back 6 more months to see where we are in 6 months. But it's like, you're just going to get everyone to move to another city.
They're gonna have to. You're not gonna be able to afford it.
Yeah.
It's almost like they don't, if they do that, they just don't want them to succeed at some point, or they maybe really don't understand the like breakdown of everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. So was that your first real experience with activism?
Yes, it really was. And it was, I won't lie, I was very naive. I did not know that you could call the mayor and ask for a meeting. I didn't know anything about going to city meetings or anything. I didn't know that there was public comment. So I was very new to what was happening. And I think it was good that I didn't know what was happening, because I was just going for it and I wasn't nervous, because I was just doing each day at a time.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. You can, I was talking to Congressman Lou Correa about a month ago, and I was saying, it'd be great if we could use the US Post Office. And he said, well, okay, cool. That's what you want? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, send me an email and say, Lou, you're not doing your job. We need the US Post Office. And then I have to do something about it. I was like, oh, what? That's all
Like, that's how it works? Like, I have a say?
You're not doing your job. I was like, I don't want to say that to you. And he goes, no, put it in the email.
Yeah. That's great. That's totally great. For me, it was, knowing how Marin wasn't open to it, I had to lobby in every city in Marin. And I started by Sausalito, Fairfax, Tiburon, Coronador. I literally hit up every single city in Marin until somebody was willing to have the conversation. And
at some point, did you hire a lobbyist, or you did all of this yourself?
So I was very beyond lucky to have Amy Jenkins work pro bono for me at the time. And she really held my hand through it. And she would show up to places that I couldn't believe she would come and speak on my behalf. So I was very lucky to have a mentor through lobbying.
And you guys had the other delivery associations showing up too, or no?
So they wouldn't show up for my local. The local was all done with like the Marin County Couriers Association. But once we had to go to the Capitol, we all showed up together. And then if there were ways to like stamp it, you call the NASCAR stamping of everyone's association together, we would all do that and help each other's locality that way. Or I remember I would use what San Francisco was doing and show Marin County, like, look what the city's doing, look what these other areas are doing, to kind of try to mimic it.
Okay, it's 4:20, y'all. Let's smoke together. What's everybody smoking? Put it in the chat. And Nurit, you might want to see if there's anything in there that.
Let's see what's in the chat.
Kind of freaking out. It sounds like somebody's in my backyard. Okay, so
as natural occurring photo. Is that estrogens part of like what happens with
photoestrogens?
Yeah, so that must happen for hot flashes. I guess that really got everyone with the yams.
Oh, interesting. Like niacin?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Or the opposite of niacin? Anyway, so back to delivery. It's my feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like delivery is a really good way for social equity, because it's probably the easiest way to get in the industry. Do you think that's true?
I do think that's true. And that was actually one of our biggest talking points when we were pushing delivery on the state level to allow, is we said it's the easy entry barrier. Everything else is going to cost so much more to start. At least at the time, it was an easier thing to start. So yeah, it's absolutely true.
So how many delivery operators do you think are women, minorities, small businesses?
I think we have, I would say at least 50% are small businesses, if not more. I don't know the actual status on that, but just from knowing who was delivery back in the day, I mean, that is, everyone used to start out of their homes. It was the easiest way to get your foot in the door. Women owned, you know, there's Sava, which is an amazing one to look up to. I know that there's one in Oakland called Level, which is another woman. So I think you can really go through it and be able to support the females and the small business owners.
I love that. I love that so much. So I love your branding.
Thank
It's
you.
so beautiful and clean. Is that what you got out of FITM?
I think I got that out of FITM without totally knowing I was leaving FITM with that knowledge. When we started ONA, I looked around on Weed Maps and saw all the other deliveries out there, and nobody had kind of like a female focused brand. And you know, I was always a pot smoker. I love my cannabis. I don't want it to arrive in a rolled up brown bag. Like, I want it to look like I just went to a boutique and went shopping. I'm spending a lot of money on it. I want it to have that same experience. So that was my initial thought with ONA, was let's make this a beautiful experience. Let's make this couture. Let's bring something to the market that people haven't experienced before. And because of that, 85% of our clients are females. They're working moms, they're soccer moms, they're, you know, tech ladies out there. So I'm really proud to know that I hit that exact demographic I was looking for.
So you've always loved cannabis. You weren't so much into alcohol when you were younger because it didn't make you feel good.
Yeah, every time I would drink, I'd end up vomiting. I'd get the spins. I just, you know, I never could feel as good as I did every time I would smoke some weed with my homies in high school. And I think, you know, my mom taught it to me medically, but then I experienced it recreationally on my own.
Do you think that your love of cannabis has helped you with your brand, with creating your brand?
Absolutely.
Like some of these suits that have never even tried it, that have cannabis companies.
I don't understand how those people are in the industry. I don't understand how they can sit there and own a company without having the passion or the love for the plant. I think that it portrays off, right? Like for ONA, if you look at our Instagram, it's actually, all those quotes are quotes that I personally need to hear. So there'll be quotes about like, focus on your light, or, you know, keep your head up. And these are all quotes that inspire myself because I know I need to hear it. So I really built the brand off myself every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really important to love cannabis, to be able to have that come through with your brand.
Yeah.
So,
oh, look, Nicole, smoking my favorite Eddie Parker that I got delivered from ONA. I love all the product Nurit finds, not just female-focused products I want to receive. Thank you, Nicole. That's so sweet. That makes me so happy. Those Eddie Parker joints are fabulous. They're single strain, which to me is really important. I feel like a lot of the ones that are mixed into a blend are always harsher or whatnot. So I'm really happy to hear that.
That Eddie Parker is a beautiful brand as well.
Beautiful. I mean, that is the definition of designers coming into marijuana, right? Like, she sells $1,300 purses, but now she's promoting flower, which is exactly what we want to see. We want to see these people that were scared of cannabis, or where it was so taboo, to now bring it to the limelight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I didn't know you had Eddie Parker as a brand. That's amazing. I need you to hook me up with those guys because I love that brand. I want it.
I will definitely.
For December.
I
Yeah.
will definitely hook you up. They just launched little vapes as well. They're very mini. I don't know if you remember the Bebo vapes. They were like rose gold and tiny.
Yeah.
They're just like those, but they're like pink with a silver top.
Interesting. Are they luxury? They're not disposable, are they?
They are.
Ew,
I know they are disposable.
thumbs down.
I feel
Sorry.
like everything's disposable. Think of every cartridge now. It's like, what is the industry doing? We like can't get away from it.
Smoke flower.
True.
I like those little dog walker joints.
I love the dog walkers.
Yeah, there's I feel so wasteful. My ashtray is full of half smoked joints. Where do you get one of those little teeny rollers?
Yeah, but the little baby ones are so good. We actually just picked up a beautiful brand called Juniper, and they've been around since '94 in Humboldt. Beautiful brand, and they've got these little perfect dog walkers.
Yay, I need some of those. So how do you choose the brands that you carry? Because I know a lot of people that have retail establishments and they're getting pitched, I think you said this too, you're getting pitched 20, 30 brands a day?
Absolutely.
What?
It's totally wild. I mean, we get from like different distributions that have like huge product lists to personal small brands coming after us. And, you know, I tell my brother all the time, I'm like, I wish we could host more people, but to be, you know, delivery can hold more than an actual storefront because of the shelf space. We don't have to worry about the shelf space, but we do have to worry about the pages and how many products are under the pre-roll section without losing their attention and whatnot. So, you know, for the way we pick brands is it's multiple ways. For sure, we're looking for small farmers. We're looking for small family-run business because that's what we are and that's what we want to support always.
Yay!
Yay! um, Personally, the branding is very important to me. The packaging is the part of the experience, so it being fashion forward is definitely going to rise you up. And then, you know, being organic, understanding where they're growing from, if they're biodynamic, if not, how are they processing it?
Yeah, awesome. Well, it shows. It shows when you look at your website. And speaking of that, I'd like to hear a little bit about that and your experience with building your website. Back in the day, building a website was a huge line item in your budget because you'd have to hire really expert people. And now almost anyone can build a website. But yours is really cool. And I'd just like to hear about the whole process of how you did it, what it took, all of that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, first and foremost, I was on Pinterest a lot. So I had a big mood board for Ona done. And in my mind, I always knew for the logo, I wanted it to be 2 different fonts. I just always liked the way that looks. One of my best friends from high school is a web designer. Her name's Allie Wagner, and she has a company called Knockout Designs. And I sat with her and worked through the entire process with her. She had her laptop off on Photoshop. I said, I like this, I don't like this. The hero shot of Ona, where it's the leaf and the flowers, I took that on my cell phone in a room by myself and just knew that that was my money shot. And I based all of our branding and website around that one shot. So she basically started the template for me. And, you know, back then, we did not have all the testing results. We did not know how much THC was in everything. And you're constantly retaking pictures of little nugs and posting it on the website. It was very different back then, but she basically set it up to be a template. So today I update the whole website by myself as we grow, which is amazing.
Wow. Yeah. I like to be able to do that because, you know, we're get it done kind of people. And it's like, this needs to be done right now. And if you have to wait for someone.
Yeah. It's really, it can be hard. You know, sometimes they don't respond for a week and all you need to do is just put a new header up there. Like this morning I put, you know, it's an old quote, but here in California, we're all dealing with it. And I just put the love in the air is thicker than the smoke, because that's something that needs to be up there right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, things happen so fast now. You've got to be able to, if you don't have somebody on staff every day to do it, then you just got to know how to do it yourself. And that's what entrepreneurs do, right? We wear all the hats.
We wear all the hats.
And I don't look good in hats.
Nobody tells you how many hats cannabis requires.
So many hats. So I think you were really smart the way you grew your company organically with friends and family. Could you talk about how you did that?
Yeah, absolutely. So with being started under the Prop 215 law, I felt like we kind of didn't have very many other options than to do friends and family. And, you know, at first we definitely got the reactions of like, are you crazy? Like, what are you doing? You can't do that. I was like, no, actually you can by this and that law. So we kind of had to educate a lot as we had to go. And then the word of mouth from the friends and family till today is our biggest marketing. It's really amazing to hear how many calls, and our head of concierge, it's her first question every time she talks to somebody is, how did you hear about us? And it's always, oh, Linda told us or Rebecca told us. And we take huge pride in that. From growing it from friends and family, I think because I was lobbying so much, the newspaper, I was constantly quoted in the newspaper as this woman that wanted to get a cannabis license. So that was kind of the second way of getting a lot of new clients. And then we were the first ever cannabis advertiser in Marin Magazine and San Francisco Magazine. So we were like breaking a lot of walls down and being seen in a way that cannabis hadn't been seen before.
Wow, that's really exciting. I'd love to see a copy of that article.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely send it to you. I think I told you also I was on the cover of the Marin IJ when we were talking about how do you talk to kids about it. And my little cousin at the time, I think she was like 4 or 5, little Mila, and she's like, look at you on the cover. And I was like, yeah, Mila. And she's like, what does Ona do? I was like, oh, you know, Ona sells medicine that you can't buy in the stores. And you know, you kind of have to like figure out what is the right way of talking to them about it. But, you know, Ona becoming bigger in Marin, it's something we have to talk about with our family, even the young ones.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, okay, so in the future, when you have children and you're still working doing this, how do you tell your children? How do you talk to your children that this is what mommy does for a living?
Yeah, I'm recently engaged and we've been having those conversations, and
Hey.
yeah, it's amazing. But you know, he was very much like, I don't want the kids to smoke when they're, you know, developing their brains. And I was like, yeah, like, you know, my mom gave it to me in high school, so maybe, you know, so it's like really understanding what age do we have that conversation of when they can use. But to talk about what mommy does, mommy's going to be very proud. Mommy is going to nail it like it is. Mama sells a plant that used to have a big war on drugs, and I will take her or him through the whole spiel of how it was made, for sure.
Yay. Awesome.
There's no hiding it. We are selling medicine and a playful recreational drug when necessary.
We need more parents like that.
But you know, a lot of the moms we sell to in Marin are very open with their children. I mean, you know, the Kiva or the Kikoko mints are called mommy mints. Like, we call them mommy mints, and they tell their children, these are moms, these are not for children. And a lot of them really understand that.
Yeah, that's great. So how did you come up with the name of your company? And you mentioned the leaves in your shot for your logo. Did you say you had leaves that you shot yourself?
So that big picture where it's the leaf and then the flowers and the Ona logo, yeah, I took a background photo.
Were you growing those leaves?
I was not personally growing them, but we had some friends that were growing that lent them or gave them to me. But we were selling leaves back in 2015. We were selling them for juicing, and it was one of the hottest products we had.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Let's talk about that. Well, how did you do that, and what? Tell us more.
So I was reading about the THCA that you get out of the juices. And I thought, how cool. Like if these have no pesticides on them and they're clean, I'm going to juice these. So one of my good friends in the industry, Emily Richardson, was working for CW Analytical. And I called her. I was like, hey, I really want to test these leaves. And she's like, are you kidding? And like starts laughing at me. And I'm like, I am not kidding at all. I'll pay whatever. I just want to know, is there THCA in them and is it clean to juice? And so the company actually did like an R&D because they were also curious about it. Found out they're actually like very high percent THCA and they were totally clean to juice. So I went home, I put them in my NutriBullet. I put bananas, chia seeds, blueberries, almond milk, and I basically substitute, instead of doing spinach, I put the cannabis leaves in them and they were delicious. It was amazing. And you felt rejuvenated. You didn't feel sluggish at all. And for all the ladies out there that really at the time wanted THCA, which was a very hard cannabinoid to find, it's one of the hardest ones to extract or get, you know, Doug's Baron is one of the only vape pen companies I know that does THCA, but their product, you can only get it every couple of months because it's so rare.
Wait, doesn't THCA turn into THC when you warm it up?
When it's heated.
When it's heated. So how can you get a vape pen?
That's a good question. Maybe they do get high from it.
Or is the vape temperature so low that it doesn't activate it?
It might be, but I don't think so. I mean, all vape pens pretty much, you know, heated up. I'll have to ask her that. But those are super popular for us, those THCA vapes.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, THCV? Is it THCV or THCA?
Maybe it is THCV. It's been so long since I've worked with those leaves.
That's the one that makes you not hungry. That Level brand.
Yeah. Like it's supposed to be an appetite suppressor, but it also helps with inflammation.
Yes, Greg's right. It's THCV.
Thanks, Craig.
You're the best. THCV. You were confusing me. I was like, okay, what are they saying?
I'm clearly confusing myself.
There's some interesting vape products coming out in the future that I've seen, but I didn't know that you could keep the THCA alive. And no, yeah.
So the THCV then you can heat up and it's still not like a anti-inflammatory with not like too much of a head high.
Yeah. So, oh, interesting. I didn't know that about the leaves. We were talking about, we're probably not going to be able to have time to do this idea. So we should probably throw it out to the universe. Mm-hmm. And somebody needs to start a company that just goes around collecting the leaves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first they got to change the law though, because I'm pretty sure the cultivators, and somebody out there correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the cultivators have to tell the state how much weed leaves waste they have, and they have to either burn it or destroy it.
They have to turn it over to what they destroy it or turn it over to waste disposal.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a problem that needs to be solved because there's a lot of people that want to juice cannabis.
Absolutely.
It's right now considered waste.
Yeah. Every part of that plant does something. We don't need to waste any of it.
No, no, we do not. So I think I asked you this already, but I don't remember the answer. How did you come up with the name?
Oh yeah, the name. Okay, so at first I wanted to call it Mint and Taylor, and there was a whole IP issue with it, so I had to dump it, and I ended up sitting there with a pen and a pencil writing all different things out. I was trying to think of like, okay, how do you say green in another language? Like maybe it could be something like that. And then for some reason, I thought back to my oldest brother, who I don't work with, but his company was his last name and his co-founder's last name. So then I started playing with names. And so ONA is Oren, Nurit, and Aviv, which is my initials with my brother's initials. And then when I went to GoDaddy.com was taken, but .life was available. And I thought, oh, how cool. Nobody's really using .life. And what if I make it the website and the logo so it all combines into one? So that was kind of the play on it. And I don't know, when you think of your sibling names with life, it's like we're life partners, and there was all this intertwining meaning to it.
Yay, I love that.
Thank you.
I just
Sounds Hawaiian, Ona.
It really does. I thought that's what you were going to say, that it meant something exotic.
Yeah.
It is exotic. I love it. I've been wanting to work with you forever. I looked into your brand quite a while ago and I was like, wow, this is beautiful. This is amazing.
Thank you. And you as well. I have heard your name since the day I entered the industry. You are a true OG, true OG. I was texting with Sean Luce this morning, and he was part of Berkeley Patient Groups and New Leaf. He's like, oh yeah. He's like, I met her like 15 years ago, and I think he still had dreadlocks back then.
Now I'm the original grandma.
You're the hottest grandma I've ever seen, Susan.
Thank you. Okay, so did you see that survey yesterday? That's the link I should have gotten. UCLA, the cannabis research lady at UCLA is doing a survey right now about how your cannabis use may have changed during COVID-19. Have you personally changed your cannabis use, and what about your customers? What have you seen trending?
Yeah, so personally, and I told you this last time, I'm a flower girl. I'll always be a flower girl. I love smoking a good joint, but my fiance has asthma, so I was like, I can't be doing this to him every single day while we're locked up in the house, or every night. And so I brought home all the edibles. I brought home every Kiva Rainbow, all the Garden Society, all the Pluses, Valhalla, like all of our Smokies, all of these great edibles. And we just did a whole tasting test. And till this day, I am still a lightweight with edibles. I'm about 2.5 to maybe 4 milligrams on my sweet spot. And I'm still learning how to use edibles. They just hit me totally different. And I think I'll always be a flower girl. I will say during COVID, I started using the Mary's medicinal patches, and it's basically time releases CBD into your system. And when I'm not a gloraphobe or a germaphobe, but I think COVID turned everyone into one, where you're scared to touch the doorknob, you're scared to breathe in the air at the supermarket. You know, I was wearing the patches, and it really helped me stay calm and just kind of be myself. In terms of our clients at Ona, the canned tonic drinks are flying. I feel like all of the moms that we had at home felt, okay, I don't have to smoke while my kid is home. They have no idea. They just think I'm drinking sparkling water, and they're taking the edge off with those. So I would say like can was the biggest seller. And then as well, sleeping products flew up. I think everyone was having monkey mind. I think everyone is just in a place that nobody's ever been before, and that it gets in the way of your sleep. So I'd say sleeping products jumped up really high as well.
So which ones do you think work the best for sleep?
Everyone is so different, I have to say, because I'm very hands-on with our clients and understand that when our concierge talks to them, I always tell them, make sure they know it's not one size fits all, because we get so many people that call and they're like, it didn't work, or got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Like, you know, I went to sleep, I didn't stay asleep. So a lot of times we tell people to layer sleeping products. The Kiva Midnight Blueberries are a huge seller. The Key Cocoa Little Helpers are really big as well. And for the people that need kind of higher dosing, the Mary's Medicinal CBN pills are very helpful, or their Remedy tincture as well. And then they also have this like gel pen where you just pump it and like rub it in your wrist, and it transdermally gets into your system, that we've seen to be very popular.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So did you have the big sales surge in March, and then what happened?
Yeah, we did. We had this, and I one of my favorite quotes from the newspaper, I said, they bought weed like they bought toilet paper. It was absolutely crazy. We, like, our phones have never rang that much before, like the call waiting, the like missing the calls. It was a whole ordeal for us. But yeah, we hit numbers that day. And I would say it was about a 3-day process where I think people thought we were going to get shut down. So they just bought as much as they could one day and then even came back the next day to buy the daily limit just so that they were stocked up. And then thankfully, the city of San Rafael told us we are okay. We were claimed essential from day one, unlike San Francisco had shut them down for a couple of days. The city of San Rafael said, as long as there's food delivery going, you guys are running. And so we felt very confident in that. And we sent out emails letting everybody know. We posted it on our website. But what we did see was a lot of people that probably used to stop on their way in from the city to Marin are now ordering from us. So I think we converted a lot of in-store shoppers to delivery, which is incredible. And I don't think any marketing we could have done that without COVID.
Yeah, I mean, all of us were on our way to living more of the room service lifestyle, but the cannabis industry wasn't quite getting that, and COVID-19 really kicked everyone in the butt. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I think it's here to stay, don't you?
Oh, I absolutely think it's here to stay. We don't even know what next March is going to look like. You go right back into a lockdown, you know? And I think even if this vaccine comes out that they're talking about, I don't know how many people are going to feel comfortable taking it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's definitely here to stay for at least the next year or so. And I think delivery used to be the underdog. And I think delivery was kind of not what everyone wanted to get into. And now all of a sudden delivery's on the top and everybody's launching delivery. Kaliva just launched their own delivery. You're seeing Ubana try to do it. Like, it's just everyone now has to move around and become the new thing, which is delivery. I didn't think I would be in that position.
Do you see any future innovations in delivery of cannabis?
Did you see what Tel Aviv did?
What? Oh yeah, they threw free, yeah.
So I mean, the most amazing would think drone delivery, right? I don't think California will see that ever, but innovation wise, I think that would be an incredible leap. I think that would be beautiful to see one day. Innovation in delivery. I mean, unfortunately, the laws have us stuck on the way we operate. Like, so much would have to change for the innovation to happen.
Is the software, the track and trace software, does that need to be improved?
Absolutely. I think all the softwares within delivery or cannabis, and I'm definitely speaking more towards delivery, could use a lot more help in, you know, being user friendly, allowing us to do more marketing, integrating with other companies. I feel like we're really slammed up against a wall in our capacity of what we're allowed to do, and it can really harm a business. Like, we would love to integrate with Dutchie or I Heart Jane or just any one of these other companies that would get our name out there more, but we can't because some softwares just don't want to play with others.
Going back to taxes, I think that's one of the biggest issues, is that the taxes are not being really spelled out on the receipts. So the customers don't understand why their bill is so high because there's not a good enough breakdown.
It should be right in front of their face. It should tell them excise, state, local, sales. Like, they should see all of it because it would help us fight towards pulling it down. I think if they were more educated, like right when you go to dinner and you see that they add, you know, the new health service, you're like, whoa, what is that? You know, you get to understand what is really happening. And it's, you know, I think I told you last time as well, it's even the journalists, you know, they wrote this whole article about how ONA is, you know, hitting record sales because of COVID. But what they're not including in there is how much money we're paying in taxes, and that we're actually not doing like as amazing as we should be if we weren't paying the federal government as much money as we are.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hopefully your next conference will hit all of that.
We're going to the State of Cannabis first Thursdays.
Yes.
Thursdays, October 1st. Okay, is there anything else about Ona that you want us to know about?
Yes. Okay. So one of my favorite things about Ona, and it's something that when I left production, I knew in my heart I wanted to be able to do within my company, which is a give back. I thought I wanted to work in philanthropy until I realized that's kind of a hard one to do. Why don't I just wrap it up into my business? So it's called Random Acts of Kindness. We've done it since day one. And basically we do exactly what it says. We find different people that need help. So our first one was a family in New Mexico whose daughter was born with epilepsy, and she wanted to give the baby CBD oil. So she migrated to Colorado and incurred all of these crazy hospital bills, moving bills, and whatever else it takes to do what she did. So we did $1 from every purchase to her GoFundMe until we got her to her $30,000 goal. And then after that, we just move on to different random acts. So we are currently helping a family in Marin called Save Sight Now, and their daughter was born deaf and now she's going blind. So we help them. And then within helping them, because they have a very big goal, we helped with the fires, we helped with COVID restaurants. We're going to do something for the Last Prisoner Project as well. So that was something I learned from my father. My dad, he would always do random acts, whether it was paying for somebody's toll in front of us, carrying his neighbor's bag up the stairs. I was always embedded in doing random acts. And it's just something I'm so happy we can have as an initiative with Ona.
That's beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
Amazing. All right. So I'm going to open it up to the audience. If you guys have any questions, let's ask some questions. I'm going to turn this view to gallery. There we go. Anybody want to pick the brain of this amazing entrepreneur? Let's look through the chat.
Thanks, Will Plevy. I love you too. Oh, that's cool. Nicole talked to her kids about using after they go back from college.
I mean, if you don't talk to your kids and you think they don't know, they know.
Yeah.
They know. Let's see.
Oh, yes, Greg. We actually currently do deliver in Sonoma. A lot of times we just try to schedule it out. So if you were to put the order in, our head of concierge would call you and just work out a flexible time, which has been going really well for us, actually.
Love it, Sabrina.
Sabrina.
Dish it, dish it.
Okay, let's see. I don't know if it's a delivery story, but it was a client story. It was a Canna Curious, somebody new to cannabis, and she was really nervous to get high. She was just didn't really want to get high. So we were explaining to her CBD. We were explaining, you know, certain things that she can use to not get high, and she had aches and pains. So we're like, oh, this is perfect. It's a topical. You use it as a spot treatment, and you don't get high. And she, you know, she couldn't understand. She was like, so I'm not going to get high. We're like, you're not going to get high. She's like, if I pet my dog, will my dog get high? No, nobody's getting high.
Not anybody.
Nobody. Could definitely do like a little, you know, like Urban Outfitter books on different stories from clients, I feel like.
That would be fun.
Yeah. Does Ona have plans to do a monthly subscription box? You know, I've totally thought about it. I would be very open to it. My fear with the monthly subscription is, like, do they get to pick what they want? And I would love to hear what your thoughts are, Nicole. Like, would you want to pick what's in that box, or would you be okay with it being curated? And would that subscription be like a yearly subscription, or is it just kind of like month to month? Because I feel like if you were to launch something month to month, it might not be as, you know, powerful as if you were to get somebody to subscribe for a year.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hi.
Hi.
Oh,
Hi. So I think your products are amazing, and I've been researching because I'm your demographic, like older and, whatever, of a certain age. And I just think it'd be really nice because when I go through your website, there's a lot to choose from. And sometimes I want to try things and it's sort of overwhelming. And so it might be neat to have like a Birchbox equivalent, because I've looked at some of the other subscription options, and quite frankly, I'm over like tie-dye teddy bear products. I want stuff that's gorgeous. I want stuff that if I want to bring a gift to a friend, if I want to give a subscription box to somebody, that's an option. And so unless I'm wrong, and correct me, there aren't a lot of other places to buy where every product is beautiful. And that's for where I am. I want products that are aesthetically beautiful. Yes, they're going to be wonderful and work, but I want them to be beautiful. I want to be able to put them out on my table, like a beautiful coffee table book, and say, look how, like, that's why I love the Eddie flower, because they're beautiful.
yeah. Oh my God, I love hearing this. This makes me so happy. That's honestly was definitely a mission of mine, where I want people to order these products, put it on their kitchen table, and not be embarrassed if somebody comes over like, oh shit, let me hide this, like, product. So how much would you spend on a monthly subscription?
I would probably spend $50 to $60 or $100. It depends how much is there. If it's like 3 little items, and maybe it isn't the whole 9 mini pre-rolls, maybe it's a micro pre-roll, maybe it's 3, so I can try 3 different things. I think Birchbox, which is different, which was just, makeup, but look, what does somebody spend on a good bottle of wine? $30, $40, $60 if you're going to a friend's house. I mean, I think it's just an interesting idea. I know one company was doing like $1,000 a month subscriptions, but it was a little like kitschy. It's like, I don't want gold leaf. Like, I'm not Vegas. I want beautiful high-end products.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something I'm definitely going to work on. I think, I loved the idea and like how you related it to Birchbox. The problem is the industry back in 2015, we could make little samples, right? They could do sampling, and now the samples are like the actual size. So in the like retail and like understanding how much it would cost, I think it would always end up being a little bit more. But I think it's something I'll definitely explore. Just even knowing that you're into it, I mean, it doesn't hurt to just try it, and see what happens.
Yeah, and I think it's nice to be able to customize it, and to be able to try some of the different products.
Yeah, like there could be an option of, do you want pre-rolls and edibles? Would you prefer topicals? And then between that, client picking 2 or 3 different ways, we could assort the box for them.
Right. And I think people want what they want, but I want to know that everything I'm buying is really aesthetic. Like, that's a very important selling point for me. So
that's awesome. That's
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for supporting Ona. It means
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions before we wrap up? Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Nurit, for what you do, your activism, just being a fabulous woman, cannabis business owner. And I'm so glad I got this opportunity to get to know you better.
Thank you. Me too. And thank you for being such a leader in the industry for so long, and really, paving the way for other ladies to follow behind you. I think that we owe you a lot. So thank you.
You're too kind. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for showing up.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.